Yeah, howdy. Just wanted to give a quick little update. People have been asking what's going on there. Some asked what happened to that video on refugee status, and I removed that because I just felt I couldn't validate that well enough. It's funny. There's no central leadership of all of this, and so you can't just go to the leader and say what's going on, because sort of isn't. It's just an organic thing that's happening here and there, and there are more prominent figures in it, but they're not controlling everything that happens here. This thing has just got a life of its own, called you and I. So it is hard to get a central source of information and say this is what's happening or this is not what's happening. I tried to do that with the camp to try to find out, is this refugee status, because that's what everybody's telling me. But as I continued to dig and dig and dig, I talked to people that were leading things there, not the leaders of it, but people that were doing things, and it was the same story, but I cannot validate that. So I think, it's a shame we're even needing to have this conversation in Australia, but I removed that video because I just don't feel I can verify that that's actually the fact. So I just, yeah. So on that, I think with the protests and things, I just wanted to give a couple of thoughts there. The freedom marches, so, probably a lot of you have been to those. There's sort of some central leadership, but not. You're going to get a lot of people complain, people are up on the stage saying crazy things, or that's part of freedom, right? You're going to get some silliness there that you don't agree with, but others will. And I think it's us having the freedom of expression to allow people to be who they are. I think that it's hard to know what's the next big event, what's the next big thing, but that'll become evident because it's not going away. Yes, the authorities came and squashed what was going on in the EPIC camp and at the old Parliament House near there, the National Library. I was at both of those. Just a beautiful free spirit, which I'm going to do another video and actually talk about that from a spiritual perspective of that, because that's probably more what I've earned the right to talk about, and where I'm trying to come from in this. And it was a beautiful movement. So I'll do another video. We'll talk on that. But as those camps were closed by the authorities, there was a lot of trauma, a lot of well, it's easy to sit and criticize it, but yeah, there was abuses, and probably on both sides, but equally either side saw itself as correct. And we've seen the videos on some of that, and I don't need to get into that, but EPIC was a beautiful move. That down on the National Library was a beautiful spiritual move, which I think anyone that visited those places and spent any time there will agree that the spirit of what was happening there was biblical. It was on a journey that was incredible. To me, I liken it to counting all things as common, sharing meals together. Nobody was doing deals. It was not like, hey, I'll feed you, you feed me tomorrow. It was just, everything was just, how can I help you? Everybody wanted to give. Nobody wanted to take. And again, I'll talk about some of my experiences there on another video. But so where it is currently, Kalula Farm, I've been out there. It's a small base of people, less than 100, probably less than 50 at the moment. And they're talking about moving that on. They're talking about, not by the authorities, but just the people that are there, and they've got all sorts of talk of things they're going to do. Yes, the camp has people in it. It's probably halved in size, but there was a lot of people there from places like Western Australia that can't get back over the border. It's really common to meet Victorians and man, they're hardcore. These folks have been through hell, and I don't think the rest of Australia, we have any idea of the stuff they've been through. They turned up and they knew this is going to happen, that's going to happen, the police are going to do this, that's going to happen, now we need to boom, boom, boom. And they just, some of those people are walking in PTSD. I mean, the traumas that they've experienced, and they're continuing to fight. I put a video up on that very thing, that it's important to take time to minister to yourself, to just keep level. Don't be fighting and not, or because it's that being jacked up on that fight. It just, well, I get it. It needs to happen, but you need to be here at the end of it. You're just going to be a basket case if you get too caught up in that. And unfortunately, some of these folks from Victoria have just been traumatized by the authorities there. Then they come here and the same thing's happening. And just lovely people. I just listen to their stories and just love them. And yeah, it's a sad thing that this is Australia, and hopefully it won't stay this way. And I think as we all rise up in freedom, that won't. So I wanted to give an encouragement on that. I wanted to just say, look, pick your fights, because this is a long fight. And I think we saw changes after the last march, the big one. I mean, you notice all of a sudden the press is being a little bit more civil towards what's going on, and all of a sudden the politicians are loosening a few of the mandates. And I think that shows me that they listened. They might pretend they didn't, but they listened. And as much as the media was saying, there was only 10,000, and I think the Google website was saying, what was it, 265,000, and then there was other rumours of police estimates of, way up there, and there was a lot of people. You were there, and if you were there. So pick your fight. When that next big march is, it'll be online. People can get it. Do something, like, if you're in another part of Australia, maybe you're concerned about the AFP. Don't see problems, see solutions. I'm kind of a bit weird that way. I don't see problems, I see solutions. I feel the problems. Once I've processed it, I'm looking for the solutions. And look and say, look, if we camp down here right now, we might get hassled. So rent a bus. And I tell you, those buses can be just a wonderful time. Bring a guitar and put the word out in your local community. And I think you'll be surprised how many people will rally to it, because there's a lot of people coming out of hiding that have just had enough. They want freedom. And, if you're up wherever, Gold Coast, buses came down from there. Put out the word. There's a bus going down on this date. Who wants to be in? And, and you'll find it'll fill up. And have a go. What you got to lose, right? Tell your friends. Let them tell their friends. Get the word out now so you can start to prepare. Then when you come down here, you can stop, a little bit out of the area even, or come in on, make a plan, is what I'm saying. And come in, do the march, and leave again, if you're concerned about what the AFP could do. There's answers, right? We don't have to just say, oh boy, we'll do nothing. I do believe resistance is doing the little things that come to you at that moment. That could be putting a sticker on something. It could be driving a bus. It could be anything. Just telling your next door neighbor, sharing a video. The resistance is doing the little things you can do. They're not violent. They're just being game enough to step out and do what you know could make a difference. So yeah, as it sits here now, it's all pretty quiet. It's a bit of a regrouping. I can't say I know any direct needs. I'm sure there's always needs, but go with the feel of what you feel, and trying to keep you updated as I can. But I will make another video here shortly on the spiritual side of this.